Administrative procedures may not be glamorous, but they're essential to the success of any enterprise. A well-run office reduces miscommunications and helps to eliminate common errors. By making the administrative office a priority, you will establish clear policies and procedures with employee understanding and buy-in, which ensures that your work environment runs smoothly. With our Administrative Office Procedures workshop, your participants will understand how an administrative office procedure binder demonstrates professionalism and efficiency in an organization or office setting. It's also a marvelous instrument for quick reference and utilization. Strategies and procedures are a vital connection between the company's vision and its everyday operations.
Administrative Office Procedures. Module 1, Getting Started. Administrative office procedures may not be glamorous, but they are essential to the success of any enterprise. A well-run office reduces miscommunications and helps to eliminate common errors. By making the administrative office a priority, you will establish clear policies and procedures with employee understanding and buy-in, which ensures that your work environment runs smoothly. Module 2, Why Your Office Needs Administrative Procedures. Administrative procedures are more than mundane policies. They are put in place to ensure the survival of the company in any event or situation. From catastrophes to change to basic day-to-day activities, administrative office procedures address them all when they are done correctly. Business continuity, succession planning, audit requirements, and recovery planning are all included in administrative procedures. Business continuity. Business continuity is also known as business continuance. It is the plan in place to keep a company running in the event of a disaster, both during and after the disaster. Establishing business continuity requires identifying essential tasks first. This includes items and services that are critical for the organization to function. These will vary by organization, but they include technology, employee safety, sound structure, etc. Business continuity steps. Determine risks that the company will likely face, weather, IT, sabotage, etc. Analyze the effects of each risk or hazard that you discover on different aspects of the company, safety, function, assets, etc. Determine how long your company could function if one of these risks came to pass and what recovery would require. Develop a team and strategy to address the potential problems. Develop a plan and document each step before sharing it with the rest of the team. Test the plan using different methods such as drills, walkthroughs, and checklists. Succession planning. Successful succession planning develops a pool of talent so that there are more than enough qualified candidates to fill the vacancies in leadership. This strategy requires recruiting qualified talent, creating a talent pool, and instilling loyalty in employees. Identify goals and objectives. Common goals include profitability, employee loyalty, service, and productivity. Identify needs in the company. Consider changes in the responsibilities of different positions the company develops. Recognize trends in the workforce. Understand the changes occurring within and without your organization, such as an aging workforce. Develop the employee pool. Determine where to find employees to fill in the gaps within, recruiting drives, social media, etc., and develop a plan to engage them once they are chosen. Internal and external audit requirements. Both internal and external audits are important for identifying risks that organizations face. The internal audit addresses how effective and reliable administrative controls are. An internal audit also addresses record accuracy, legal compliance, and management action. Internal audits and external audits are similar, but the internal auditor is an employee of the company that he or she audits. The external auditor is not an employee, and he or she will create a report based on the finances, operations, and compliance of companies. Both internal and external auditors provide recommendations based on their assessments. The auditor, whether internal or external, is required to be independent and objective, qualified, provide adequate testing, provide adequate documentation and action, offer verification and review, and give a report that will be reviewed by relevant parties such as the Board of Directors. Recovery planning. Recovery planning goes hand in hand with business continuity. Recovery planning or disaster recovery planning is the process that is put in place to recover data, software, hardware, and manpower that the company needs to start back up after a disaster. Recovery planning steps. Identify critical systems and prioritize them, and identify potential risks. Determine strategies for data, technology, suppliers, people, and facilities. Create a plan with step-by-step instructions based on the strategies discovered. Test the recovery plan and make adjustments as necessary.
Sharon worked at the same company for 26 years. She was coming close to retirement and asked her supervisor if her help was needed training her replacement. She was surprised to learn that no one was in the running for her position, and she retired in a month. Her supervisor explained that they were having trouble finding someone qualified to replace her. This made Sharon feel uncomfortable, as she felt her leaving without a solid replacement would leave a huge void in the company. She ended up negotiating to work part-time a little longer while a more extensive search was done to find a replacement.
Module 3, Gathering the Right Tools. Any activity requires the use of the correct tools, and the administrative office is no exception. Administrative binders and other materials are necessary tools that ensure tasks are completed correctly. By gathering the necessary information and finding these tools, you will eliminate confusion and ensure that your procedures are done correctly. Binder. Administrative binders contain instructions on administrative procedures that all employees will be able to use. Begin by choosing a binder and collecting the necessary dividers and sheet protectors. Creating a binder requires you to keep track of the day-to-day operations. You must also develop a list of responsibilities for different jobs. The list should include daily, weekly, monthly, and annual tasks. The binder needs to include basic procedures. Begin with the job descriptions and interview different employees to determine their tasks. We will discuss what information is needed and how to collect it in depth in the next module. The binder should also include basic resources such as phone lists, locations, and planning checklists. These will vary by organization, but technology guides and other information that is essential to know about the company's systems should also be included. Section divider. Section dividers are used to physically break down the binder into different sections so that information will be easier to find. After collecting all of the relevant information, organize it and create a table of contents. The table of contents will guide your section division. We will specifically address the table of contents later. The section and topics will vary by organization, but they need to be organized in a clear and concise manner. Use tab sheet protectors as section dividers to make it easier to find specific information. Sheet protectors. Sheet protectors are necessary to keep the binder safe from accidents and spills. Tabbed sheet protectors should be used for section dividers. Regular untabbed sheet protectors need to be used for the other pages in the binder. Heavy-duty sheet protectors are recommended for pages that will be used frequently, such as templates, phone lists, and checklists. It is not necessary to place each page in sheet protectors. Leaving the bulk of pages outside of sheet protectors will make it easier to make changes to the information when necessary. Cover-to-cover binders. Once you have collected all the items needed to create a binder, determined what should be included, and organized the information, it is time to place everything in the binder. Choosing the correct binder is important. The information in the binder should be completely enclosed so that it is kept safe. The binders need to be reviewed cover to cover to ensure that they are completely enclosed. The size of the binder typically used for this purpose should be 1/2 inch to 2 inches wide. It is important to choose a binder that is large enough to add pages to if necessary. Additionally, choosing a binder that is too small can cause the pages to tear and fall out as the binder is used.
Aaron was told to create a procedures binder with the tools available to him. He was able to find a 1-inch binder and untabbed sheet protectors. As he was putting the binder together, he noticed that it was going to be a tight fit. To create section dividers, he placed post-it notes between the sections. As he looked through it, pages fell out and so did the section dividers. He realized this was not a great solution, so he asked his colleague Jane about it. She showed him a unique way to fold the post-it notes with the sheet protectors to create some great section dividers.
Module 4, Identifying Procedures to Include. When creating an administrative office binder, it is important to choose the procedures that are necessary. If you put too much information in a binder, it becomes difficult to navigate. If, however, you do not put enough information in a binder, it is useless. By keeping track of different tasks, working with other employees, and staying aware of daily activities, you will be able to find the best procedures. Tracking tasks for some days. In order to identify the procedures you need to include, it is necessary to track tasks for a few days. This should help you identify the following information. Determine which operations are executed as part of the position. Establish the tools that are used on a regular basis. Discover the information that is consulted consistently. Determine which events and meetings are repetitive. Track this information using apps, organizational tools, or write notes. choose the method that works best for you. Once the information is discovered, it will help narrow down the procedures that you need to include in the binder. Reach out to other employees for feedback and ideas. Determining which procedures to include is not a unilateral decision. It is important to collect feedback from employees and ask them for their ideas about what procedures need to be included in the administrative binder. Take advantage of multiple methods of feedback to ensure that you gather as much information as possible. Feedback methods: surveys, focus groups, meetings, questionnaires, evaluations, suggestion boxes. It is essential to stress that you need to prepare employees before asking them for feedback. Give them time to analyze their own tasks and provide the most relevant information. Write down daily tasks. We have already established that it is important to note daily, weekly, monthly, and annual tasks. Daily tasks should be recorded for a minimum of 5 days so that you can determine which tasks you actually complete on a daily basis. The time that it takes for you to complete each task needs to be recorded as well as the task itself. You may write down your tasks at the end of each day or take timed breaks to list your tasks periodically throughout the day. You may also use apps to keep track of your activities. No matter which method you choose, it is important that you complete the record of your daily tasks before you leave the office. Keep track using a spreadsheet. As you track different tasks to determine which procedure to include in the binder, it is important to keep track of which tasks are daily, weekly, monthly, annually, etc. The best way to do this is with a spreadsheet. You may need to add times for your tasks. For example, payroll may be bi-monthly and meetings can be bi-weekly.
Joan was trying to keep track of her activities, but she was extremely busy. She planned on recording the task as soon as she left the office, but by the time she returned home, she was not able to recall everything that she did that day. To top it off, she did not have any idea how long any of the tasks took her to complete. She decided to list what she remembered and estimated how long she thought it would take to complete each one. She did this for a few days and used the information to successfully identify her procedures.
Module 5, Top 5 Procedures to Record. When creating a binder, it is not possible to address all procedures at the same time. For the best results, it is necessary to limit yourself to 5 procedures. Begin by choosing the top 5 procedures that you need to record. Once you identify the top 5 procedures, using a template and writing detailed procedures will help ensure that the recorded procedures are accurate and effective. Use a template to stay consistent from track to track. Consistency can be difficult to attain when you are moving from track to track. Implementing the use of a template will develop consistency between tracked procedures. There are different templates available, but you can also create your own template and tailor it to the needs of your organization. What to include in a template? Department: the department that the procedure falls under. Category: the division that the procedure falls under, accounting, HR, etc. Job: the job title of the individual who typically performs the procedure. Purpose: the reason for the procedure's implementation. Statement: the policy statement outlines the actions and behaviors required using the active voice. Regulations: list any laws or regulations to which the policy applies. Related information: list any guidelines, policies, or procedures related to the new policy. You may also need to include keywords, definitions, or background information depending on the scope and complexity of your procedures. Be as detailed as possible. When recording a procedure, you need to be as specific as possible. Provide every detail that you can. Remember that the procedure needs to be recorded so that anyone can complete it without supervision. Write down the steps to your process and review them carefully to determine if you need to clarify steps or add them. Do not skip steps to save time or space. On the other hand, avoid using long, wordy instructions that will overwhelm and confuse your readers. The instructions need to be short commands such as, log into the portal at the following website. An example of an instruction that is too long and wordy could be, go to the website and use your password to log into the portal so that you can enter the information you collected. Use bullet points instead of paragraphs. The steps that you provide for procedures need to be clear and easy for people to follow. This is where formatting becomes important. Rather than writing the instructions in paragraph form, use bullet points instead. Bullet points attract the attention of your readers. They are easy to use and provide basic, concise information. Bullet points also make it easier for people to keep their place as they are following the steps that you provide. Each step should have its own bullet point. Ask someone to execute the procedure. Before you complete your work recording a procedure, you need to make sure that the procedure is effective. This requires the procedure to be tested. Find a friend or colleague to complete the procedure as you have written it down. It is essential that the person who completes the procedure does so without any direction or interference from you. The written procedure must be able to stand on its own. Once the procedure is executed, ask the individual for feedback. Questions to ask. Were all of the instructions clear? Did you feel that any steps were missing? Were any of the directions confusing? Were you able to complete the procedure? What would you change, if anything, about the procedure?
Matilda recorded the top 5 procedures and listed their steps out carefully. She reviewed the steps and decided they were effective. She even tested them by following the instructions herself as she completed the tasks. She recorded them and placed them in the binder. She was surprised the next week when her supervisor told her that she needed to rework some of her procedures because the steps were not clear. She then looked at them as if she was a new hire and immediately recognized the issue. She then added the additional descriptions needed and submitted to her supervisor for approval. Her supervisor agreed they were a lot better and signed off on them.
Module 6, What to Include in Your Binder, Part 1. When creating an administrative binder, you must determine what should be included and what should not. The needs of each organization will determine which topics you should include in the binder. There are, however, certain topics that should be included in the binders of most organizations. Commonly used topics include phone etiquette, business writing, arranging meetings, and time management. Phone etiquette. Each organization needs to have its own set of guidelines for phone use. The tone of the company will determine the tone used on the phone. There are, however, some basic rules of phone etiquette that most companies can benefit from implementing. Basic etiquette. Answer by the third ring. Have a standard greeting. Use hold appropriately. Transfer calls efficiently. Take messages when necessary. Maintain the appropriate tone. Business writing. Business writing is an essential skill that each person in your organization needs to grasp. Poor writing reflects badly on the company. Implementing a few procedures will reduce mistakes and improve writing skills. Your procedures should be based on the type of writing that your employees must complete. Some basic techniques should be included in the different procedures. Use the active voice instead of the passive. We will attend a meeting at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, not a meeting will be attended by us at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Avoid the overuse of buzzwords and jargon. Do not use exclamation points, only use them when appropriate. Use short sentences and simple vocabulary. Read writing aloud. Proofread all written communication. Effective time management. Every organization can benefit from effective time management. When documenting procedures, it is important to include time management strategies. Strategies. Stay organized. Organize the workspace so that you do not waste time looking for things. Prioritize tasks. Complete important tasks before the unimportant ones. Stop procrastinating. Identify procrastination and avoid it. Make a schedule. Delegate. Give others the responsibilities that do not require your attention. Binders should include tools with the strategies to help manage time. Tools that binders may include are schedules, timesheets, checklists, and estimated timing per task to help employees keep track of their work and make adjustments as necessary. Creating meeting arrangements. All companies require meetings from time to time. When arranging for meetings, it is easy to overlook something. Providing a checklist to help create meeting arrangements will help ensure that nothing is overbooked and the meetings go smoothly. The types of meetings you are arranging will determine the checklist. For example, a meeting with members from out of town will require more preparation than a weekly employee meeting. Tasks to include in checklist: group size, venue, notices and follow-ups, confirm speakers when necessary, financial arrangements, room arrangements, meal planned if necessary, sleeping arrangements if necessary.
George was responsible for planning the annual company conference. He kept track of all his communication, suggestions, and requests of other employees. The first day of the conference, he discovered that 3 people were not coming. 2 of them were supposed to be honored at a presentation. He had forgotten to follow up with all of the speakers and attendees. George hoped that this was the only thing that he overlooked. After some quick thinking and some luck, he was able to reschedule some events. He located the honorees and had them attend later during the conference for their presentations.